Hi guys, CeeChronicles here, back again with another fragrance video. If you're joining us for the very first time, I post fragrance related content on this platform and would very much appreciate it if you did consider joining us by subscribing. To those who are returning, thank you so much for the continued support. Now, welcome to Fragrance Twins. These are fragrances that smell the same in my collection. Reason why I'm doing this video, guys, is when I posted Rave Now, I did get a couple of questions from you guys asking how different it was from Optimistic Her, a fragrance that I did bring not so long ago, and some of you actually did suspect that maybe it is under the Yara cap. So I thought, okay, I'm going to bring you some of the fragrances that smell similar here, and I'm going to give you a mental shortcut of to what extent these fragrances differ from each other. So the first two I want to talk about are going to be these ones. Okay, this is Club de Nuit Imperial, and this one is Shelina Exclusive. Both drawing inspiration from the Lina Exclusive, but there are differences there. This one, guys, is exactly at par with the original, even trying to an extent to outclass the original. I'm going to cap this one also as a fragrance that gives me vibes of old money, where it's not trying too hard, while its counterpart is screaming. It's one of those friends, guys, that will show up wearing everything. They will wear the heavy neck pieces, the tiara, the sash, high heels, the bangles, the watches, the lot. This is loud. Okay, so it is the same DNA, but this is loud. This just gives me subtle, but in terms of are they going for the same thing? Absolutely. And it's going to be an issue of price point, really. This one's more pricier than this one, so it just depends on your pocket. Now let's move on to number two. On second position, guys, are going to be these three. Okay, this is a Rave Now, Kaid Alphasan from Latafa, as well as Paris Corner Neuf. Three fragrances, guys, that use a pineapple as a base. So the DNA of these three is a very pineapple forward. But let me use a process of elimination and take out the Kaid Alphasan Black and explain what my thoughts are about this too. I'm going to bring it back in a moment. When it comes to Rave Now and this, what I get mental shortcut is it feels like there's a huge perfume factory where they mix certain juices and then decide, okay, we're going to bottle the same juice in different bottles, right? And let it be the consumer's problem. I get a juice that is identical, but amazingly coming from two different companies. These are identical. If Noof changes, I'm going to come and update because it is a new fragrance within my collection. But for now, I can say you're not missing much, guys, if you had Noof or this one, and it does feel redundant to own both for now. Now, as for the third one, which is Kaid Alphasan, this to me has a little bit of that fraternal twin in it, okay, where I am one of you guys, but I'm going to shake it up a little, okay? I'm going to put some woods there, some spices there, and just to show them that I don't have to just be a plain pineapple. So that is what I feel about these three guys. You can totally purchase this one if you had either one of these two, but when it comes to purchasing these two at the same time, I would say test, before you purchase these two at the same time. Just buy one, but this one is pretty different. So these are my number two, guys. Third, of course, is going to be the rhyme or reason behind this video. You guys wanted to know whether this one was like Yara. Let me outright say, no, it's not like Yara. And some of you wanted me to elaborate because I did come with Optimistic Her from Fragrance World a while ago, and I did pass it off as a Burberry Her Elixir clone. And yes, guys, these fragrances are going to be under the identical twin cap, but there are slight differences. You do know that with twins, sometimes there are, slight differences, even if they are identical. This gives me a sharpness there. This kind of comes across as a little bit mature, but it is the same sort of concoction. Differences are there is a deep Candy Crush in this one, even creamy, okay, and that strawberry is a bit prominent, but they dry down to the same thing. So I'm gonna say this kind of is a no-brainer if you are the sort of person that loves youthful smelling candy forward fragrances. This you can do even if you're a mature person and you just like that theme without necessarily it crossing over to being very fluffy and very creamy there. So these are going to be identical, same DNA, but just slight differences there, and they're sitting on number 3. Number 4 are going to be these two guys, Rose 01 and Shalina, two fragrances that draw inspiration from Delina. These are going to be different behaviorally, right? This one is like new money. Okay, and then this one is like that friend that is trying too hard to copy some friend that they look up to, and they miss the mark here and there, coming across to everybody else as, we feel you. This comes across as new money in the sense that with new money, there is some sort of showiness, if you will. This is loud. This is, I'm going to wear you. This is, I'm going to rubbish everybody's fragrance, even crossing over to like an oil presentation. So if you love Delina on steroids, I'm going to say, try this. This is not far from that, but I chose to say it is that friend who looks up to this one and misses the mark a little because they don't have that much money as this one has. I love them both, guys. So this is Shalina and Rose 01, two fragrances that draw inspiration from Delina. On number 5, guys, are these two Affection versus Kayali's Yum Pistachio. These two fragrances are identical. The difference is here you need to scrape, look, beg, ask, explain, but you still won't be heard. It simply feels as though Latafa went and knocked on Mona's door and said, "Hi, Mona, do you have an excess of that Yum Pistachio juice of yours? I would love to rebottle it if you don't mind." And she said, "Well, yeah, I do have it, and to an extent, it might actually even be sweeter now because it's been sitting for a long time." So that is what I get from this. These are two identical twins, guys. The only thing is this translates as a little sweet, right? But in terms of telling them apart, you can't tell them apart. It's really a matter of whether you want to support the original work, whether you want to go for the clone. It's entirely up to you. So these two are on 5th position. Now on 6th position, I'm going to bring back this fragrance because I've spoken about it. Why? Because I want to use its example on this one, Privé Rose by Astaf. Now, what do I get from Privé Rose by Astaf? I get a fraternal DNA. Okay, this is going to come across as a fraternal twin to Delina or Delina Exclusive or Cassili. It just seems as though it's got an identity of its own. If it's a friend, it's going to come across as that friend who's always changing colors, you know, like a chameleon, where you're not going to really pin my character, but there's going to be the traces there that are identifiable. I decided to bring Kaid Alpha Sun because that is the example I gave when I showed you Rave Now as well as Noof, that there is that unmistakable DNA that you get in Noof by Paris Corner and in Rave Now in this one, but there are differences enough to say, I'm not the same as you 100, so stop saying I'm the same as you 100. And that is what I get from this, guys. It is here on its own because it's just picks its inspiration from various juices, which is from Delina Exclusive to Delina to Cassili, that friend that, let's say, is a gossip. Okay, so they don't align with anybody. They agree with everybody. If the other one is gone, they start talking about the other one, you know. So there are some characteristics in this fragrance that borrow from that character that goes about acting like they like everybody. That is what I can say about Privé Rose, guys. Nice fragrance nonetheless. Just cannot class it. It's just there. Now, next up, let us talk about Cherry Smoothie as well as Love First Burning Cherry, two fragrances that draw inspiration from Tom Ford's Lost Cherry. Okay, I'm going to put this one as identical to Tom Ford's Lost Cherry, even to an extent outperforming that. So this is going to be that one that says, I can do better. And then this is going to be champagne taste on a beer budget. Yeah, where, okay, I'm gonna fake it till I make it. That's what I get from these two. Okay, so Cherry Smoothie does smell like Tom Ford's Lost Cherry, but it just has like a juvenile thing there. The cherry for some is not interpreting as legit. It comes across as a bit synthetic there. If you don't mind that, then that's okay. That is what I can say, guys, about Keali's Love First Burning Cherry, as well as Zara's Cherry Smoothie. And then we have Shaheen Gold, which is this one, guys, versus Barry Al Oud Honor and Glory. I'm gonna class these as fraternal twins, where two eggs are released and they're fertilized separately. They're going to take characteristics from the mother, they're going to take characteristics from the father, but without exactly looking the same. Basically, what I'm saying is Honor and Glory borrows from Shaheen Gold and Royal Blends, then tries to come there and make an act like, I'm independent, I stand alone. No, you're not a standalone. You're borrowing from those two. If I manage to bring back Royal Blends or get a test of it, I'm so keen, guys, to layer both, because to some extent I think if I do layer both, I'm going to come up with this. So those are my thoughts on these, guys. And then next up we have these three Camera Cocktail Intense by Fragrance World, as well as Fire Your Desire by Paris Corner. Three fragrances that seem to be going for that Angel's Share DNA. Gonna use a process of elimination again when it comes to this. Let me start by taking out Camera. Reason why I'm gonna take out Camera here, I'm not gonna call this one a twin or whatever it is. This feels like your grandma's recipe that you could never nail. It feels like you know, those restaurant recipes that when you go in and you eat, you swear you could replicate that, but it never comes out identical. This is a beautiful fragrance that seems to be doing its own thing, but feels a lot like it wouldn't have been created if Angel's Share had not been there as a base or as an inspiration. So that one's out of the way. Now, when it comes to these two, this is an identical twin, guys. Nothing there that feels different from the original. Same DNA, same everything. Just feels like it's been rebottled in a different bottle. And then with Fire Your Desire, guys, it just feels like I'm clean, I'm posh, I'm elegant, and less is more. It's got like a smooth, elegant finish to it without trying so hard to be an identical copy of Angel's Share, but at the same time not being able to claim to be an OG. So that is what I can say, guys, about the three. And then there's these two guys, Nebras from Lattafa and Billie Eilish's Eilish. Simply put, Nebras is giving me that new money vibe again, where everything, guys, is bold and is on steroids. Nebras says, I am gonna wear you, not the other way around. Let's just get that one straight. I'm going to be sticky. I'm going to be stuffy. Yes, I take my inspiration from this. I feel like this, but I'm going to outclass that. That's what Nebras feels like. While this one says, it's chocolate. Let's take it easy. You know, this one feels like old money. It's elegance. Let's not push it. And you know what happens when you take too much chocolate. Okay, it's about the chocolate, but we don't want to go crazy about it. So I'm not going to call these ones fraternal twins. I'm going to call them identical, but with different behavior pattern, where there is this twin that's loud, the one that's always talking, and then there is the timid one. Simply put, those are my thoughts about these two fragrances, guys. Now, next up, we have these three Bella Dosi Red Delice from Fragrance World versus Sublime, as well as Keali's Eden Juicy Apple. Okay, let me take Sublime out of the picture and say this just feels like this juice rebottled. Same performance, everything. So we are going to call these identical twins. However, when it comes to Sublime, it's like, okay, this time we didn't go to Mona. We didn't need Mona. This time we thought, oh, this is nice juice, but she could have done this and that, and we did it with that. So if you want a spicy take to Eden Juicy Apple, that is what you're going to get, guys, from Sublime. Shares the same DNA, not trying to be identical, but there's going to be traces off. And that is the second from the last, guys. These three are the second from the last. If you want something with a little bit of some pizzazz, then Sublime is going to be the one for you. These two, guys, which is Velvet Oud by Lattafa, as well as Shalima Oud, are fragrance fragrances that are somewhat identical. Okay, the differences are this one seems to be apt on the vanilla. Both are oudi, but this one has that vanilla doing a little bit too much there, so it is quite sweetened. These two I have decided to bring here to say, if you're a woman, maybe you ought to buy this one, and if you're a man, maybe you ought to buy this one, because this one has got that oud and rose and everything Middle Eastern there, which this one has, but this one has got that vanilla punch, which is something that a lot of women love. So it's got that sweetened feel to it. Tweening, yes, difference is just being in that vanilla. And no, this is not an inspiration of Shalimar from Guerlain. I did get that question asked some time ago, and might as well address it now. So that is what I had for you guys. Those are the fragrances within my collection and the differences that I thought to just come and drop here to help you for ease of reference in case you are looking at purchasing any of these. CeeChronicles is my name. Thank you so much for joining me today. Do turn on post notifications while you're at it. That way you get to be notified anytime I upload a video. Like and share this one, guys, and remember that smelling good is a form of good manners. Cheers.